shop and turn the lights back on and videotape this. As you can tell, something that I was thinking about doing, I'm actually in the process of working with a couple of people about maybe starting to offer a medical course on your run-of-the-mill IFAC kit with tourniquet, with your quick clot, with just your GSW trauma type stuff, your gunshot wound trauma type stuff. I've been thinking about offering a course on which trauma kit to use and how to use the things that are in that kit. Some of the guys, I've posed the question over at SoftRep on the forum with some of the military medics about what are you guys running. Tell me what you're running in your IFACs and why. What IFAC kit have you gone with? And so we got a few things going on there. And also coming up, I was thinking about doing a couple of videos about some medical issues. One of which I thought about actually showcasing a scar on my leg that's pretty much the entire leg, and discuss what happened. And it's one of those things. It's kind of a neat. It's a good scar, but I thought about discussing that, going over some of the stuff. Oh shit! Here we go again. Another one of these videos where I yawn. Anyways, thought about discussing that, showing X-rays of breaks and everything, and not so much just trying to show off my own leg, get sympathy, but to spur discussion. I'd like to hear back from you guys as to on that video. Once it comes out, I'd like to hear back. See what you guys have got, what's happened to you, some of the things you've seen. So anyway, without further ado, that's a Lee Ergo Prime system. This is a Hornady lock and load powder drop. We've got an RCBS baffle, and actually two of these. I'm going to check out and see if this RCBS baffle should work in the Hornady. I'm not 100% sure if it will, but I'm going to find out. As a matter of fact, I'm going to find out right now, because I happen to have a Hornady powder drop right over here. Let's see. And it does not appear that it's going to fit without modifications. That's okay. What I'm going to do right here is I'm going to squeeze it where it would go in there. Now I have to trim it on each side a little bit. The reason I'm going to go ahead and do this is because the gentleman that I sold the Hornady lock and load to, he also bought a powder baffle, but there were no Hornady powder baffles available at the time. And so I'm going to adapt this RCBS to fit it. I just squeeze that in some. I'm going to cut the sides off of it and make this one fit mine. I'll make the other one match, and then I'll be shipping it all out. And here's something that I do, and I've received positive and negative reviews about this practice of mine, and it really doesn't matter to me about the negative reviews, because this is the way I do things, and if someone doesn't like it, they can take their business elsewhere. But this is for somebody else. This is not going to be my powder dropper. But what I'm doing here is opening it up. I don't drop ship except for in very rare instances. And because I don't drop ship, a lot of times that means that the customer ultimately pays a few bucks more in shipping if they buy it from me than from someplace else. Now, I usually save the customer a little bit of money on the product, so if anything, it ends up being right around even. But what I do, and the reason is because I can't tell you how many times over the years of ordering parts in different businesses and stuff, and shooting and reloading is not any different, where I've gotten a part that was sealed up just like that, and something's not been right about it. Especially whenever you get into drop shipping. If I drop ship this product and it's not right, it's such a problem and a hassle to get everything squared away whenever it's remote and still keep the customer feeling like they were done right and happy. So what I do is I go ahead, I check everything out ahead of time, I get it shipped into me, I make sure that everything in the order is right, and then I do my very best to get it boxed back the way that it came. But we all know that sometimes it's a little harder than normal to get things put back in the boxes the way they came. Now, one thing I'm noticing here, it appears to me that we may be in good shape, because this new powder drop, the newer style, that's going to fit just fine. So I believe that we'll be in good shape. This newer style is actually a little bit larger in diameter. So, would you look at that? It came with one. It came with a powder drop. That's awesome. It'd have been nice to have known that before I ordered in an RCBS for the guy. But that's okay. Not his fault, not his dime. Man, this is nice. This is nice. I tell you. This is nice enough to make me put mine up for sale, just because mine's older. This one's nice and shiny. If anybody's interested in my Hornady powder dropper over there, let me know. I'll sell it to you at a decent deal. I might have to get me one of these. So anyway, there's our powder thrower. That seems good. If anybody doesn't know and doesn't understand what the baffle does, I'll explain it to you here. You've got all this powder that sits in that hopper there. When this is full of powder here, kind of like what you saw over there, whenever you do this, it drops powder out here. You know, and you adjust. If you guys don't reload or don't know, this right here backs a plunger inside of this rotor in and out, and it makes the chamber in here smaller or larger by backing in or out. If you look down inside of there, there's actually that rotor, it opens and closes an orifice. So whenever this is down, it lets powder flow from the hopper down into the cavity in this rotor here. Whenever you turn it, it orients the orifice in that cavity downward, so all the powder can drop out of the bottom of this tube, and vice versa. Now, as this powder that's all the way up in here, as it depletes, it weighs less and less down here at the funnel. So one would naturally think that the more powder you have in the hopper, the larger the charge will be, because it's going to be packed. It's going to have more weight behind it. It's going to get packed in more. You take one of these baffle plates and you drop it down in there. If I can get this one that's I just bent. Here, let's see if I can bend it out a little. We'll bend it out. I can always bend it back. Okay. Now you guys can see down there, that makes two smaller passages, one on each side. And what that does is it helps keep all of this pressure off of the bottom of that funnel. It allows a uniform amount of powder to flow. It basically makes two chambers, and it keeps all the pressure up here, and then down here it keeps a constant pressure. And it's an ingenious way of going about something, of solving a problem. It's so simple, but it works so well. So anyways, I don't need to open this. I can look in here and see. This is your handle and some different funnel adapters and stuff that go down here because your case will go up in here. This is also designed, it can go on top of a reloading press, and you can set it where it will articulate as you move your press arm up and down. So anyway, that's that. And I'll wrap this back up and get it shipped out to the gentleman. Now, for the powder dropper, or not powder dropper, my priming hand, I sold some of the older stuff that I had. The gentleman wanted to go ahead and get reloading as quick as possible. And so, I know you're watching the video now. And so I went ahead and sold them at a real good deal. You know, the stuff that I was already using, and I'd already been looking into getting into another hand primer, just because there's a lot of times that I do hand priming. And so this is Lee's new ergonomic setup, and what they've got going with this setup. The things that are nice, it is ergonomic per the name. It fits your hand really well. The other one, after doing a bunch of them, it would get to hurting your hands a little bit. You didn't have quite as much leverage, so you could get, you know, like I said, just get to rubbing you raw. Next thing is, these primer trays are square. The other ones are round, which means, if any of you guys know and pay attention, the trays of 100 count primers are square. And so whenever you would go and turn your primer trays upside down onto the round catch, well, it wasn't round and so big that the square, because this right here is about the size of the primer, 100 count primers, and the round tray was not really much bigger than this. It was about the same. It just cut the corners off. And so you would, unless you were real careful, if you went straight from the container that the primers came into your priming tray on the primer, you were in the risk of dropping primers off the edges. I developed a good way, you know, a little trick using it and doing it where I didn't have that problem, but still every once in a while I would have that. So this alleviates that issue. Nothing wrong with the other unit and the other way of doing it. It's just with anything, technology and time goes on, and you get, you know, new ideas and new stuff, and that's fine. And you pay for the new ideas and the new stuff. So the way that this will work is this tray will go in right here, and you will have a shell plate here. Your casing goes in here, and as you squeeze this, it will run primer that's falling down from here, and it will stick it up into the bottom of the case. It's got a ram there. So that's that. I'm going to take this chance to run my mouth and gripe here real quick. I want to show here, we've got, this is small pistol primers on this shelf here. This is just some of them I've got in here so I can get them quickly. These are Federals right here. You've got Tull ammo, and you've got some Winchesters here. Each one of these right here, like what I was talking about, this is the size of a 100 count Winchester primer. packet. Each one of these boxes has 1,000 primers in it. Basically, you're looking at 10 of these. Over here in the Federal, each one of these boxes has a whopping 100 primers in it. For some reason, Federal is so proud of their crap, they decided that they need to take up over twice as much space for the same amount of primers. So you look here, I've got 1,000 and 1,000 right here. In that same amount of space for Federal, I can have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. So I can fit twice as many of the other brand of primers in the same given space as I can the Federals. So from any measure, you're better off to go with any of the other primers out there. The Federals, the one reason that I liked using Federal primers, those were just available and so I bought them. But the other reason that I like using Federal primers is because they have their match primers that are fairly soft. It doesn't take quite as hard of a primer strike to hit them for them to ignite, and that's good for some of your Glocks and different guns that have really had things worked on them and they don't hit the primer very hard. So anyways, that's my rant. Do a quick unboxing here. See what we can get opened up. I believe that the part, yeah. There we go. These are this old shotgun firing pin and spring. It's out of a Lefevre. Let's see what we've got here. This is a secondary PID controller system that's going to go on my curing oven for my Duracoat and gun coat. And, well, hell, I forgot what the other one is. Anyways, the oven cure type coatings, that's my controller for that oven. I've got a dedicated oven, and it's got its own controller for it, but I like these PID controllers because they give me a lot of flexibility. They use fuzzy logic, and you can control the ramp rates, like how quickly it comes up to temperature, how quickly it drops. You can have it go to a temperature for a certain amount of time, then drop, then go back up, or do whatever you want. It works off of its own dedicated thermocouple. So it's just a really nice little setup. And then my next thing is another belt that I am getting in to test out, to see if I want to carry the product. They sent it in here to me. And I don't know, I'm not too hot about that clasp. That's kind of cheap. Kind of cheap and cheesy. The rest of the belt looks pretty good. It's Velcro adjustable. Nice and thick. Padded and soft on the back. Like I say, that buckle, I don't like that. But maybe if I can find a decent buckle, I'm going to have to really put that through the ringer to see if it's going to hold up. It sure does seem cheap. But anyways, that's that unboxing. I got one more thing here that I'll show. This is a Nodak Spud receiver for an AK. I've got my own templates where I can make my own receivers, but I've got this one in, and I'm going to make sure to use this as a proof to make sure that all my other receivers are right. That way I've got something that is a known good copy, and I'll use this one to gauge all the ones that I make off of. Pretty nice. Smells like pine sol. I guess it's the preserve that they use, whatever the water displacing oil that they happen to use is. It smells like pine sol. Using this high-end opening device here. Got a couple of things. I actually ordered a few things from Brownells. This is another one of the Magupl Mo Plus grips, like what I had shown you in another one of my unboxings. This is actually, it's a rubber overmold. I really like this. I've been running it on my AR for just a little bit now, and I really like it. Good setup. The other is just some takedown pins for an AR. Well, here's some 300 blackout brass. And here is some 300 blackout brass. This is some primed 300 blackout brass. And this is some brand new 300 blackout brass. This over here is once fired. And this is brand new Lake City. So it's about time to start loading some 300 blackout.
Here we go. On the road. Hey everybody, welcome to the big show. This is Chairborne Commandos Radio. My name's Quinn. I am the host, and today, hey, we're loaded. We are stuffed to the gills with some epic programming. Let me break down the list of what you're going to get. We're going to start off with announcing the winner to the big Gerber Combat Fixed Blade giveaway. That's a $150 knife that Gerber donated to the program. We're going to announce the winner on today's show. I'm fired up about that. And we've got another contest backing that one up. So, hey, this is the only program, there's not many out there, where we are all about hooking up you, the listener. Because we know, after all, I mean, if you're listening to the show, you're automatically a winner, but we want to hook you up as well. That's part of it. So, second shout out of the hour goes to friend of the show, Mace Ward. He is the owner of Team KLR Defensive Concepts. Now, he's got a YouTube channel. It's at Team KLR #2 bar. And he puts out a lot of YouTube videos. His channel is pretty popular, to say the least. And I want to give Mace a shout out because he put our show and SoftRep, he put us over the top with a great video. He sat down and recorded like a 12-minute testimonial on everything, the reasons why he likes our programming. So for him to do that, to go out and extend the olive branch to share some props for us, I figured, you know what, it's only fair to give some props back to him because, he's a good guy. He did that on his own initiative, and I really appreciate that when anybody tries to help us out. So check out Mace and what he's got going on. Again, the YouTube channel is Team KLR #2 bar, or you can just Google Team KLR Defensive Concepts, and I think that will get you there. Mace did not give me a website link, so you have to forgive me, brother. I did not see a URL link here. Otherwise, I would have put that out there as well. So make sure you check out those 2 links. We're going to be linking up a lot on this show. It might be a new record in itself as well. So let's move on. We got one more story, and I think we'll be on to strange news, and that'll be the wrap.